Welcome to this edition of Business Foresight, the program that helps you sharpen your business acumen. As always, my name is Zawadi Mudibo. Now, today we introduce you to a very interesting agribusiness venture, and that is rabbit farming. Have you ever imagined you as a rabbit farmer? Now, you may not have given it much thought, but I tell you, it is one venture that can rake you millions. You do not want to miss our entrepreneur segment that has details to that. And later on in the show, Winnie Otieno introduces to us Mr. George Kibanya, a gentleman who quit journalism in favor of farming, I beg your pardon, and particularly rabbit farming. You don't want to miss that part, so stay tuned and sharpen your business acumen. Now, from afar, this looks like normal land tilling where you prepare the land in preparation for planting. However, this is different. It looks bushy, but this is grass meant for rabbits, where you keep it after you've tilled it. You keep it in a sack nicely and go and preserve it until it's wilted. It will be used as feed for rabbit. And that forms the basis of our entrepreneur segment. My name is Zawadi Mdibo. Come with me. Rabbits enjoy eating dry grass and green vegetation that can be found easily in the environment. They also enjoy vegetables such as cabbages and can eat things like maize, banana and cassava peels and dried maize husks. If you're planning on going large scale, you should plant grass and stock up on dry grass to provide nutrition in the dry season. Rabbits are usually very careful not to eat anything that can harm them, so you will quickly be able to discern if your rabbits like a particular food or not. So basically, finding food for your rabbits should not be a difficult task. Ensure that you also give them water to drink as part of their diet. They say raising rabbits is one of the simplest things you can do on your homestead. Not only do they require little attention, but they also provide a great amount of byproducts: milk, urine for fertilizer, just to mention but a few. Consumers, it is no doubt, can make or break a farmer. Therefore, it is critical that before you set out to pursue any venture, you factor in this concept. Meet George Kibanya, a Kenyan journalist turned entrepreneur. He quit journalism after the botched 2007 presidential election.
To embrace rabbit farming as an agribusiness from commercial point of view, and that means volumes. Number two is to actually shed off the negative attitude that rabbit farming is a get-rich-quick affair.
He founded Alcare Kenya Limited in 2008, where he saw the need to explore non-traditional breeds and went out to import pure breeds. His move, he says, was informed by initial research which showed a drawn breed will do. In its initial stock were 2,000 does and bucks, and by the end of the year, the population had grown to over 16,000 rabbits at his Solai production farm in Nakuru.
One mother will actually give you an average of eight bunnies or kids and above. So even if you buy this at 5,000 shillings, and I buy, because our buying price is 500 shillings per kilogram live weight, it simply means the minimum weight being 3 kilos, it is 1,500 times 8. So from one rabbit, you have about a gross profit of 7,500 shillings.
Rabbit breeds vary, although they have one thing in common. They are easy to keep and they quickly reproduce, such as the money you use in your startup capital can be recovered within 3 to 6 months depending on the breed you're keeping. Kenyans are not accustomed to eating rabbit meat despite the numerous nutritional benefits that come with rabbit meat. But this is all set to change given the intensive education on rabbits that is already underway. So how can you make cash from rabbit farming?
A rabbit have 5 incomes, that is meat, pelt, urine, manure, and the ovals. Those are the main 5 incomes of a rabbit. And if you are not tapping that, then you are not fully in rabbit farming.
Learn about rabbit habits so that you will be able to quickly notice if anything is amiss or if your rabbit is uncomfortable. Learn about diseases and what to do in case your rabbit becomes sick. Learn how to differentiate male and female rabbits and how to know if your rabbit is expectant. Rabbits reproduce at a fast rate as their gestation period is just 30 days. This means that they can give birth up to 10 times in a year. However, caution should be taken to allow your rabbit a period of rest between giving birth. Do not start up with a large number of rabbits if you are new to the business. You can start with 1 male and 1 female and expand as they grow.
You simply need about 45,000 shillings. Those are simply 8 rabbits, 2 males and 6 served females, and you're in business.
It is vital to build several cages for your rabbit so as to avoid inbreeding. Inbreeding causes production to go down. Each rabbit that gives birth should be kept in a cage with its litter, and once the young ones are of age, you need to separate them and find them their own cages so they can start their own family. Remember to adhere to the space rules required for rabbits so as to keep them in debilitating season or conditions. When you embark on rabbit farming, you should take the prevention of diseases seriously. Disease outbreak can occur in a region and this could cause havoc to your rabbit farming venture. However, if you develop a habit of disinfecting before handling rabbits, your rabbits will be free from disease. Do not allow anyone to enter the rabbit house before disinfecting, as this can lead to your rabbits becoming infected. You can put a container with disinfectant just outside the door so that those who go in can quickly step on the disinfectant before entering.
Seek knowledge to know how to build a good house. A good house is the first major thing if you want to succeed in rabbit industry. Why? Because it will be able to make you tap the 5 benefits of a rabbit.
With a mature rabbit selling at about 2,500 shillings, you can indeed reap a lot from rabbit farming. Schools are also a good place to sell your rabbits, as most students look for activities to do in their school clubs, and rabbit keeping does not inconvenience them.
You'll be surprised that even now we have parents who are keeping rabbits for their grown-up children and even married children because of one condition or another, to instill that responsibility. Why? Because when a rabbit goes hungry, this child will actually look for food to give to that particular rabbit.
Internet marketing is a tool that Kenyan farmers should not ignore. It is relatively cheap and it brings great results that will enable you to continue benefiting from your rabbit farming business. The future of rabbit farming is great in Kenya. When done well, rabbit farming has the potential to change livelihoods and employ many Kenyans. So let your rabbit farming become a source of revenue for you. It is a fairly easy venture to pull off and its returns are just awesome. What say you? Zawadi Mdibo, the entrepreneur.
So, Kibanya, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is George Kibanya. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Alcare Kenya Limited. Alcare Kenya Limited is an agri-business rabbit breeder stroke farmer. I've been in this business for about 8 years old, or rather 8 years. And I have seen this business grow from the initial stages to now where we are, recruiting farmers. And we also deal with only one rabbit breed, which is the Canadian Doan giant rabbit.
Rabbit farming is a rare kind of farming. So what made you decide to venture into this type of farming?
This comes from 8 years ago. When I was working in the media, I had grown rabbits when I was young, just like most other people. But then it came to a point where I decided to fully engage into this farming. And this was after I started supplying rabbit meat to the local hotels, or chain of hotels, including the Serenas, the Sarovas, the beach hotels, the safari parks. And I discovered there's a niche in this market. And that is why then, after that, I looked for my own breed, which I could be able to talk about from A to Z, or after the initial training.
What is the life cycle of a rabbit from birth to maturity and to marketing, for that matter?
A rabbit has, from the embryo stage to a productive stage of a rabbit, we would say that spans for 3 months. But then after 3 months, you get what we call adults, and in the business we call them seniors. And seniors are those that have given birth several times if they are females. And if they are males, those are rabbits that can be able to serve, because a good sire or a good buck will serve when it is 7 months and above. Then from there, its life can actually go up to 5 years. But then from agribusiness point of view, when the production of the rabbit starts coming down, that is time to cull that rabbit, and therefore to terminate its life. And that means that its life will come to that particular point. And this could be between 3 and 4 years.
Thank you very much, George. How would you rate rabbit farming in Kenya?
Well, the Kenyan market, I would say, first of all, is lucrative. The potential is there. But right from research, nothing much has been done in terms of implementing the research that we've been doing. You will recall that we actually have what we call the indigenous rabbits that are the predominant rabbit breed in this country. But then we also have exotic breeds that have 1 or 2 benefits and also 1 or 2 disadvantages. Rabbit farming is done in Kenya for meat purposes. And therefore, the rabbit that you need is a rabbit that has a high meat-bone ratio. And when we did our research, we found that this breed is the one that has that kind of ratio. Yes. In terms of the benefits, rabbit farming requires a small space, because a rabbit will always live in a cage that is 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet high. And that is pretty small. And you can also build those cages in stacks, and therefore save on your space. So that's a benefit. In terms of meat facts, rabbits have the best white meat among the white meat livestock that we actually have. And I'm talking about fish, I'm talking about pork, I'm talking about chicken. And that being the fact, then the question is, so why don't we consume it? And I think it is the prerogative of breeders like us who will now be able to entrench the consumption of rabbit meat in this country. I would say relatively not many. The number is low. One of the reasons is the fact that the availability of that meat is an issue. It is just the other day that the supermarkets started stocking the meat. Earlier on, we could not be able to get that meat readily available. The second thing, or the second reason why the consumption is not high, is because of the price inhibition. A kilo of rabbit meat will go to between 600 and 1200, depending on, again, which part you are talking about. And that, to an average Kenyan, is a bit prohibitive.
You mean the part of the rabbit? From
Yes.
the part of the rabbit?
Yeah, because if you talk about the steak, and if you talk about boneless, those ones are more expensive. But the normal parts that can be eaten, like the ribs and all that, could also be relatively cheap. So it depends when you are marketing this meat, whether you want to market boneless, already cooked meat, or even the normal meat with bones that we actually used to. Yeah, so we are looking forward to one of these days getting to your local butchery and getting rabbit meat there, widely available.
Okay, so
Definitely the other reason why people don't consume this meat is on beliefs. Yeah, people believe that these are pets. Yeah, others believe that this can only be done by young boys. Yeah, yeah, but rabbit meat can actually be consumed by everybody, young or old.
So what are the byproducts of rabbit farming, and what are some of the benefits farmers can have?
Literally, you can 3/4 or 80-90% of rabbit and its products can actually be beneficial to us from market point of view. Let me start with the meat, which is rather obvious. I said that from meat facts point of view, that rabbit meat is the best white meat. It has 0% cholesterol and 80% plus protein. And therefore, we literally say that, especially for ladies, rabbit meat makes ladies more beautiful and lovely. Yes. And of course, in our farming, we have the Miss Kenya of 2005. She's our farmer. From consumption of the rabbit meat to, of course, selling to us. Yeah. Now, that is the meat. Then we go to ears. Ears can make a special meal. A special meal. Yeah. And just like we say, we call our friends and tell them we go for nyama choma. You should actually now start saying, let's go for a sungura choma or rabbit choma, which will be very, very, very good. So from the point of meat, from the meat point of view, you have what we call the blood. The blood can be used for laboratory research. The plasma part of the blood can be used for laboratory research. And indeed, we also sell rabbits for laboratory research, locally and even outside this country. Coming from the blood, we also have the skin. The skin can actually be used to make leather. After tanning and the wet brew stage, we can actually have shoes indoor and outdoor, okay, instead of importing them from where you know. The other thing is that you can also make what we call bracelets. You can make wallets. You can make handbags for ladies. You can also make what we call belts. And you can also have phone pouches. All products from leather. And believe you me, if you make a jacket from rabbit skin, that jacket will be about 10,000 shillings and above. And will that not be revenue? So that's value addition. Coming also to what we call the pores. The pores can actually be used to make buttons. Okay? I'm talking about the crows. Yeah? The most dangerous part of this rabbit. That can be used to make what? To make buttons. Apart from that is now what we call secondary products, like rabbit urine, as you know, can actually be able to make foliar feed fertilizer, and you can also use the urine to actually make or rather manufacture what we call pesticides. The droppings can actually be used for just as manure in the farm, or you can use the droppings to actually manufacture what we call wood glue. Yeah, if you mix with other ingredients. And that is why I said that from a rabbit, you can actually consume or use economically 80% to 90% of that rabbit. Of course, the fur is also used to make duvets, to prevent you from actually contacting cold on our beds. Then you can also make, you can also use that fur to actually make fishing flies, which we actually do locally.
What are the capital requirements for any prospective farmer who want to venture into the business?
You simply need about 45,000 shillings.
45.
Yeah.
45. How many rabbits are those?
Those are simply 8 rabbits. 2 males and 6 served females, and you're in business. Your first income should give you a gross period of about 150,000 shillings. After the first harvest, which is 5 months.
Thank you so much for having us, George. We really appreciate. You heard it from the expert. With 45,000 shillings, you can now have 2 males and 6 females to start your business.
Now, there is an interesting read by a gentleman called Napoleon Hill. It says, think and grow rich. Now, every human being desires to get rich, but wishes do not give you riches. However, you need to have an obsession that is created by a persistence that does not recognize failure, and that will give you riches. In this week's regional segment, we highlight stories making headlines in East Africa. Starting us off is Tanzania, and Tanzania's government is seeking at least $600 million from private investors for the construction of a standard gauge railway line from Uvinza, Kigoma in western Tanzania to Musongati in Burundi. The development comes after Burundi announced last month that it will be exporting between 1.5 and 3 million tons worth of nickel per year in the next 2 years. In Uganda, Vodafone Mobile Company has announced a partner market agreement with Afrimex Group. This follows the firm's joint announcement of strategic framework agreement to cooperate and explore opportunities for partner market agreements in the region. Under the partner market agreement in Uganda, the two companies will offer customer voice and data products and services using the Vodafone Uganda brand. Meanwhile, Vodafone's multinational corporate customers will benefit from the addition of Uganda to the existing contracts for international managed service. And finally, Rwanda. Rwanda Air has been registered by International Air Transport Association IATA after passing the initial IATA Operational Safety Audit, that is IOSA. The registration under IATA expires in June 2016 when the airline will undergo another safety audit. Wow, a very interesting turn of events. Now, that marks the end of our show. However, we never like to call it a day before we give you a sneak preview of what to expect in the coming week. Now, next week we'll be talking about dog breeding or dog rearing. You don't want to miss that. My name is Zawadi Mdibo. This is Business Foresight. Talk to us. The hashtag Biz Foresight. Bye-bye. Hmm.